Hi, it's Evangeline from eTrailer.com, and today we are looking at our Swagman bike cover for RVs here at eTrailer. Now this is a great cover for your bikes, especially on long road trips, cross-country trips, something that you use to protect your bikes and your bike rack from the dirt, the grime of the road, as well as the elements. The cover works on hanging style and platform style bike racks. Right now we have it on our platform style bike rack, and it's large enough to fit your large bikes. We have an electric bike in here. It will fit your large cruisers as well because there is so much space in there for your bikes. It's made of 420 denier nylon, which is nice and strong and weather resistant, so you won't have to worry about the rain and the snow damaging your bikes. So on each side, we have here in the front and in the back, there's this pocket here. So what this does is when you open it, this is meant for your hanging style bike racks because the arms go through. But with it here on our platform style rack, I like it as to how it has that open space for ventilation as well as an easy way to access your bikes while they're inside the bag. At the bottom near our shank is the small holes, and these are meant to be there so that if there's water that does get inside your cover some way somehow, this is a great way for them to drain out the bottom. So remember, you're not supposed to use this cover to keep your bikes in place. That's the job of your bike rack. It's there to cover your bikes and protect them from the outside. So if you want to look inside, you can see the inside of our cover. This is the outside material and this is inside, and it's thin but very durable and very sturdy. I like how it feels here, and I actually like how it's lightweight. It was easier to wrap around, and that's what it looks like on the inside. Since it is a universal fit and it's meant to fit around your large cruisers and your large electric bikes, you might have a different fit on yours. Like what we have here is there's a bit of extra material hanging out. So my tip for you, because that is going to happen, is just to find a way to bunch up the material and put it towards the back of the cover against the RV wall, and that would be your best fit as you drive down the highway. So let's take a look at how we installed it. For platform style racks like this one, you need to insert the shank through the hole in your cover first. So you can find it by this hook and loop strap, which is strapped over it. Take that down, insert your shank through it, and then you can install your bike rack into your hitch receiver. For installing it over our bike rack, I like to just spread it out and make sure that it's in the right position, that it's not inside out, which I have done and had to correct myself. So this is incorrect. We have the inside facing outside, and you have to make sure that the Swagman logo is right over there on the upper right side. So if it's in this position, you're ready to put it over your bike and your bike rack. When you're installing it by yourself or just one person, the easiest way to do it is to drape it over the handlebars. So starting from the back, I just leave it up there, and see, I can just drape it over and kind of get it into place with my bike before I go on the other side. Here, it can just grip onto the handlebars and this seat. Okay, with that in place, you can now do the front. So I put it up, and then I get the zipper and I zip up towards the top. So they have zippers on each side, so if you don't reach over, you can just start to zip up from here. What I did, since I'm a little bit vertically challenged, is I pulled the cover closer to me so I didn't have to reach over the top. So that's just an option for you if you need to do that. There we go. I found that the best fit is to have the zipper run through the middle of your bikes and bike racks. So we'll just rearrange our cover to fit better around our bike rack. It's also a cool thing to note to have the Swagman up here on the upper right, and that will just keep things aligned. That looks good. With the zipper running down the middle, you can then strap it together, and this cover has 5 straps, so 1 on each side and 3 in the middle. So I'll just strap this and strap the other side. with both sides strapped down. What I like to do is I like to throw one of the back middle ones over the handlebars, and it's really just up to you what you find is the best fit for your bikes and your bike racks, because we all have different shaped and sized bike racks. So I found this works really well for me. Just clip them together and tighten them down. So I tied this down by using 2 straps in the front and 1 in the back. I found that worked best with having my excess towards the back, and you would like to do that because it's easier and there's a windbreak between your RV and your bike rack to keep that material in. So with that being strapped down, I also recommend that you tie up or just wrap your excess straps so that they're not flying around. Final thoughts about this bike cover is that it fits, and that's what you would get it for, which is to cover your bike rack and your bikes and protect them. It does not look the best, but that could also just be a matter of finding the best fit around your bikes. Since it's so large, there will always probably be that extra material that you have to find a place to tuck in, and if you're worried about how it looks behind your RV, that might be something, but if you really want something to protect your bikes and your bike rack, this is a great option. So let's take a look at the discussion I and my coworkers had about this bike cover.
It was very interesting to put on, and well, right here is on our platform rack, but also works on hanging style bike racks. So underneath here is the eSpec bike rack and our 2 bikes, and this is the large size, so it went all over it, and we just strapped it into place. So putting it on was interesting because you actually have to take the rack out, and then there is a square hole in the back of the, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you look in the back, there is this square hole over here, which the hitch fits into, and you have to put that in before you attach the bike rack to the receiver, and from there you're supposed to just wrap the whole cover over your bikes and your bike rack, and from there you just strap in the excess material with the straps.
Just for the record, are you using a platform style or a hanging style rack right now?
Okay, so we're using the Swagman eSpec, which is a 2-bike platform style rack.
Okay. The reason I ask is because the bag can work with both types of racks.
Yes, it can. Yes, so it can also work with a hanging style rack. For the hanging style rack, you don't need to attach, you don't have to put it through the hole first, you can just put it over, but for the platform style rack, this is the way that instructions, or Swagman recommends to do it.
So I have to remove the rack with the bikes attached just to be able to get at my bikes now?
Yes.
Yes, so we took off the bikes, we took off the rack, we put the cover on, then we reinstalled the bike, we reinstalled the rack, then we put the bikes on, then we put the cover over the bikes and the rack.
Yeah, we thought probably an easier way to do it, just with having to put it through the actual, I mean, I bet it's more safe.
Yes.
And I bet it's like fully covering it. It's just probably not the easiest right off the bat to throw on. Like
we did try throwing it on without putting it through the hitch, and it did not work out at all. So we then redid it with the hitch, and it fits a lot better that way.
So can I store it on the rack itself then? Like, will it fold up really tight so I could just leave it on there all the time?
You would if you would, you might have to fold it up some way. It's really large because it's a large size, so you'd have to figure out a way to really fold it up tight, and you cannot be using these straps. These would not pull it tight enough. You might have to use like zip ties or something else if you wanted to store it on the rack. So I do not think it's easy to put it on the rack, but I suppose it's possible if you get it small enough.
you're definitely going to have to do a lot of trial and error because we had a lot of that And it's just one of those things where it's not very simple to figure out right off the bat. As you can see, it's a little bit of a crude setup. It's definitely protecting, and it's on there very sturdy, but it's definitely something that you have to kind of get used to and try a couple times before you can make it look really nice.
So the fit will be different if you have different bikes or if you use a different rack, because it does say there will be excess material. There will most likely be excess material, and you have to find a way to use the straps with the cover to put it in against your bike rack. So like right now, we are definitely going to readjust the straps here just to find a better fit for our bikes. And so that's just something that might be difficult at first, is on the first get-go, just to find the best fit for it. But I'm sure once you figure out what works best for you, it'll be easy to repeat it. But yeah, as for how this feels here, it feels strong, it feels sturdy. It does have these Velcro things, which are to help with the straps and with fitting things inside. But other than that, with the hook and loop, it does feel very weather resistant, I would say, so it would keep your bike safe. The straps themselves feel sturdy as well. It's just fitting it.
Can you kind of show us how the straps, how tight they'll make the bags, in case the customer's concerned about billowing?
About it billowing? Yes.
Yeah.
So like right here, we do not have it in the perfect strap position, because so these can definitely be tightened further to get it tighter onto. You can also just move the different straps around. We have it side to side, and up and down. But there's a lot of length on the straps for bringing it close. So yes, and some of these can be folded up against the other straps. Like that can be folded up there and then brought tight. It's just a matter of figuring out what works best with your exact bike rack. So like it does say that there will be excess material that needs to be strapped down. And so like that looks a bit better. It's, yeah.
I guess that's what I'm curious about. It kind of, I mean, like you said, it looks a little bit messy. It's all trial and error. When you were putting it on and kind of figuring it out, did it feel impossible? Because it looks like you would just have to move the straps around every which way and start tightening here and then move them around and start tightening there. And
yeah, so it's a large piece. It's a really large cover. So when you first brought it out, it does kind of look overwhelming to just fit it over. So yes, I think it is easy to get overwhelmed with this design until you figure it out which straps go where.
This definitely isn't a just throw it on and zip it up kind of covering, which depending on what you're wanting to use it for, if it's like, a massive rain's about to come down and you're just trying to protect your stuff, this is definitely not the product for that specific thing. But like, it's definitely good for like long road trips. I would feel like if you're thinking you may go through something, it would be good for that.
It strikes me as a bag that customers are going to have higher end bikes, because it seems like for all the hassle to put this on, they're not going to be using it to cover a cheaper bike.
Yeah,
definitely. That does sound right. Since it was a little bit difficult to put it on and off. I'm sure if you had a really long road trip and wanted to protect your bike, this is what you use. If you're not gonna take breaks in between your road trip for a nice bike ride, I wouldn't use it for that.
So for conventions or stuff like that, if people are like really putting a lot of money into their stuff, this would definitely be a good one.
Yeah.
If they don't want to get like a full on like trailer for their setup, it'd probably be good for that.
Now, we say that it'll work with e-bikes and cruisers. Do you think the bag is big enough to carry most sizes of bikes?
Absolutely. So that's, I think, one of the reasons we have so much extra here, a little bit like billow, like what you said seemed a bit billowing, because there is so much space in there, especially for your larger bikes. So we have here a larger size bike and like a medium size bike, I guess, but we can definitely fit larger bikes on there.
Could you use it with like a hitch mounted motorcycle carrier, you think?
That's a good question.
It's a possibility.
I feel like it would fit.
Yeah, I feel like with how big it is and how much room, like even right now we have with like 2 bikes in it, I wouldn't see there being a problem.
Yeah.
May want to watch out for some of like the more metallic pieces of the motorcycle.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah.
Because it does have a square opening there for the hitch, so it fits 2-inch hitch receivers. So if that's what it has, I don't see that there would be a problem with that.
Yeah, cool. Or I guess I'm also thinking of like, I don't know, maybe like even a wheelchair carrier. Do you think it would come out far enough to fit over a cargo carrier that had a wheelchair, like a powered wheelchair on it? Or is that it maybe?
Possibly. I would see the only problem maybe is because it's definitely like shaped for bikes.
Yeah.
Because like the way that they have specific things right there and there for it, you can definitely tell that it's shaped with how it's seamed in for bikes. But I mean, it's a possibility. I wouldn't put it against it.
It might not be deep enough for an actual wide cargo carrier, but maybe.
You would maybe have to like MacGyver some of it and strap down where it may be a little bit more flappy and where you can't even like strap it down with what it comes with. But definitely size-wise, I think it could fit most things that you're wanting to put on your hitch.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, definitely have either a second or, to be honest, a third pair of hands when you put this on, because me, Zach, and her were so... It was tough for just the 3 of us to get it on there because of how high you have to throw it over. So,
yes, it also zips up. So the zipper, when you do throw it over, the zipper does go upwards. So you would need someone holding it together while you zip it.
Or somebody that's very tall.
Yeah, it was, and someone tall. Or like a step stool, I could probably do it. It also helps to strap it a little bit or try to find some straps together before you zip so that they're already kind of together. And then just redo the straps as you see fit. We'll definitely be trying to find the ways to strap it in with our other bikes and to try to make it look more uniform, but it definitely fits around it.
Yeah.
So I know it's just a bag, but do you think the bag is thick enough that it would offer any kind of rock protection if rocks got kicked up, like if they were driving down a gravel road or anything like that? Do you think it might offer some protection from dings and scuffs and that kind of thing?
Well, you can feel the bike here because it does go against the bike. So if it's something hard, it's not going to be a cushion. It's not that thick enough. Let's see, I'll unzip it here so you can see how thin it is. So there isn't really a cushioning aspect to it. If anything, it would, it would hold up like the tension against it. That might help against rocks if they don't directly hit the bike. So if they hit between the bike, it might help with that. But if it hit the bike directly, it would not cushion that impact.
So maybe some scratch protection, but not actually dent protection.
Yeah, like if it got impacted, it would dent it. So it might not scratch it, but
it would handle pebbles for sure,
Yeah.
protecting from like smaller rocks. But like if it's like bigger, accidental kick up and all that, I'm not sure that it would be able to protect it unless it was, like she said, in that area where it's really taut.
Yeah. So, but it would hold up against rain and the sun. You want to protect your bikes from that, like your weather. Yeah, it's a good cover for that.
Yeah, I guess my thought is a cross-country trip. If I don't plan on getting bikes off until we get to the Grand Canyon, great. Let's go ahead and cover them up and not even think about it, not worry about it.
For sure, yeah. And because that is something you would have, like, you wouldn't want your bikes baking out in the sun through your whole trip and all the dust that your RV kicks up as well. This would definitely protect from it from that. So when you get there and you're finally ready to start your actual biking adventure, then you're good to go. You don't have to, like, wipe your bike off. Or
Don't have to worry about pollen. That's another big thing. If you're going through tons of states, don't have to worry about getting covered in pollen. The bag will protect that at least.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely something for long road trips or bringing your bike if you have a really nice bike somewhere a long distance and you want to keep it safe. I would highly recommend it for that. But if you're taking like a lot of breaks between to take your bike off and go on a ride, it might not be the best.
Yeah, that would make sense. Do we have other bike covers or bike rack covers like this? I don't know if Matt knows either.
Yeah, we're not fully sure.
I don't know.
I think he's
haven't
looking.
tried them. Yeah.
I feel like Swagman would have to have at least a couple other variants of this if they already have built one, and this is definitely like a high, like it's very heavy duty comparative to like some other ones that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would feel that they have a lower, like not as heavy duty one. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
It's a good question though.
Yeah, I was just curious. If we don't know, we don't know. But
Yeah. Yep.
I put in bike cover on our site, and that's the only one that pulled up.
Okay. Then that answers that, yeah. Well, I mean, this is meant to be like versatile for different sizes.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you have smaller bikes, larger bikes, this would fit around it. Smaller bike racks as well, larger bike racks, this would fit too. It's just a matter of strapping them down to fit.
oh, are there any strap keepers on there, like little bands or anything to keep the excess strap, or are you just going to have to tie it all up?
You probably have to.
Yeah, you can tie it all up. You can put them back as well because there's some hoops here too. So that helps a bit. So I strapped it up to the back. Then I can just bring it back down through here.
Okay.
So there's some hoops there.
Which how much you have, I would definitely probably try to get a couple, like something to keep it together.
Mm-hmm. There's also some hook and loop points inside. So if you had too much excess straps, you can put them through there too.
Oh, okay.
They're on different parts of the cover. So you can find them like in the back as well. There's some small holes that you can put your straps in if you have excess. So
Are there any storage pockets, or is it just strictly a cover?
it's just strictly a cover. There's no storage pockets. Like I thought this one was at first, but it's just a hole into the cover for access. But you cannot store anything inside, like in a pocket.
Okay.
That would have been useful though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
All right. You got anything
I
else?
don't have any more questions for you.
All right. Well, anyone else? No more questions? Other than that.
So that was my discussion with my coworkers about this cover, and I hope that answered any questions you might have about it. But that was a look at the Swagman bike cover for RVs here at eTrailer.com.